Dr. Thomas Murphy, passionate chemical engineer with over 35 years of experience in
Anyone ever seen one of these before? Do you know what this is? First, I didn't start as a chemical engineer. I started as a
have worked with various chemical engineers all over the world on various research projects like
important thing to me in life and in anything we do.
how you approach current world scenarios through these set of experiences you had.
Don't hop from one fishbowl to the next. Holy cow, yeah. How did you get into NASA? Space shuttle went through this plasma.
20 years, what do you say the biggest opportunities and challenges in commercializing new chemical engineering innovations? Tech to market.
Welcome to the Chemically podcast series by AIChE-VIT, where we students collaborate, learn, and contribute to the field of chemical engineering. This is my co-host Ananya Lashmi and myself Abhishek Nair. Today we have a distinguished guest, Dr. Thomas Murphy, a passionate chemical engineer with over 35 years of experience in evaluating strategic investments for the purpose of valuation, risk, and strategic fit. Dr. Murphy graduated his Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering from Clarkson University and Sir holds an MBA in Accounting and Doctor of Philosophy in Finance and Quantitative Methods from Syracuse University. Currently, Dr. Murphy serves as the founder and chief executive officer of Valuation Risk and Strategy in LLC and chief executive officer of Green Chemical Nanostructure. Today, Dr. Thomas Murphy will guide us through an exciting section on tech to market. It's a pleasure to welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here. What I had planned for was spend about half the time going through a little bit of an explanation about myself. It's so important for us to all understand ourselves to be able to do this properly. And I'll start out with, has anyone ever seen one of these before? Do you know what this is? Can you see that? It's a slide rule. Anybody have a slide rule? Okay. This is a calculator that we used back 51 years ago. It's my slide rule. My father had one. My father also was an engineer with General Electric, and he got one of the first calculators, a Hewlett-Packard 35C, and he was brilliant. And so I'm a little bit less brilliant than him, but still pretty sharp. I'm also a person that I think the most important thing to me in life and in anything we do is to have the truth. Okay? The whole world has got a problem with truth these days, and it's very annoying. We're fighting amongst ourselves, fighting with other nations, and the problem is that from my perspective, and I'm very faithful, my faith is based on truth and love, not lies and hate. That's the satanic part of life, and I don't have any part of it.
So, before we move forward, sir, I would like to take a moment to thank you once again for accepting our invitation and joining us today, sir. And also, it's great to have to know about your perspective as well and to have a great person like you in our podcast. So, moving forward, sir, I came to know about that you did your undergraduate from Clarkson University. So, sir, having a background on electrical engineering, what led you to the world of chemical engineering?
I started as a electronics engineer, and I worked for General Electric in the summer as a summer intern in sonar signal processing. I'd worked there for 2 years, And then when I graduated from Clarkson University, I graduated with a chemical engineering degree. And I wanted to get into chemical engineering. And so I was going for a master's degree. And what happened was on the day that I got home from my graduation, of course, my parents came up and I didn't know what I was going to do. It was 1974. The economy was pretty bad. I was accepted to RPI for a chemical engineering master's degree. And I got a call. It was like on a Monday after Mother's Day was the 18th, and I graduated on Saturday. And it was General Electric. And the guy said, "Hi, Tom, I'm so and so. I'm a recruiter for General Electric. Have you got a job yet?" And I said, "Well, no, I don't. I'm actually not sure what program I'm going to get into, but I'm going to go into chemical engineering." He says, "Well, listen, I've got a job for you, and I'd like you to come in a week and fill out an application, take a physical." And I went ahead and did that. And that was my third year with the General Electric Company in sonar signal processing. This is not chemical engineering. This is electronics. This is signal processing, analog to digital processing of signals, sonar signals, and through a thing called fast Fourier transform analysis, and which is basically like an AI type of machine learning thing that you do. So I came in and I worked for them, and I had a great time for another summer until October 1st when I applied to DuPont. And on my departing day at General Electric, my boss said, "Here, this is a reference letter that we sent to DuPont and a few other companies that asked for one." And they wrote about me. They said, why did this one uh, engineer, Bob Marker, why did he ask for me 3 summers in a row?" And basically, he described my work ethic, what I did, and how hard I worked, and my focus, and that one of the things was they described me perfectly. He said, "Tom's a very quiet person until he really wants to say something. Then he's very outspoken." And so I've learned all about that.
It's great to know your journey, how you reached into the world of chemical engineering, sir. So, sir, I have visited your LinkedIn profile and I came to know about that you have worked with various chemical engineers all over the world on various research projects like recycling polyethylene and all. Sir, and it was interesting. It was so interesting to know about it all.
That's actually in my LinkedIn profile. All of these things that I'm talking about, you can go to my LinkedIn profile and you can look at all my posts. You can look at all my things because there are 2,300 of you chemical engineering students who I'm a mentor for. And I have people that are working on projects with me from everything from recycling of polyethylene terephthalate plastic bottles or water bottle or soda bottle, and make sure that that doesn't go into the environment because DuPont was recently, both of the DuPont plants that I worked at, Fayetteville and Parkersburg, were cited for tremendous PFAS and PFAS releases. And so this is to a point where they were condemned by the United Nations for it. So I take this very seriously. I've never seen anything bad happen at DuPont when I was there, but it's not to say that bad things don't happen with things that we don't know.
As a passionate chemical engineering like you, who have done many researches in this field, so sir, how did you get the exposure on in evaluating strategic investments for the purpose of valuation risk and strategic fit and also?
We never went out for lunch. I was in marketing, I was in engineering, I've done different things in technical service. People go out to lunch once in a while, maybe twice a month. We didn't go out for lunch for 2 years. And then one day in 1981, one of my chemists said, "Hey, let's all pile into the car and let's drive up to the drive-in restaurants and get the best French fries from the best French fry, get the best hamburger from Burger King, get a Wendy's chicken sandwich, that kind of thing." And so we did that. I mean, we're a bunch of we're crazy. And then he presses on the radio, and we heard an announcement that DuPont just bought Conoco Oil, a company larger than them. And there were companies after buying Conoco Oil trying to. It was a big, this was like in the news for a full week. And then we turned on the radio and we found out that DuPont bought it. It was like, holy cow, that's unbelievable. So that triggered my thought about strategy, valuation, financing, and quantitative models and that sort of thing.
35 years of experience in evaluating strategic investments for the purpose of valuation risk and strategic fit. And it's so great to know about it, sir. And also, a part of it was you earned a Juris Doctor in Technology in Commercialization from the Syracuse University of College of Law. And so, sir, what was your, like, how was your law school college experience comparing to the others?
I went to law school. I went to law school after I started my PhD program. I had no thought that that ever would be something I want to do. It had any value to me. Why do that? We all know what lawyers are like, right? They argue cases for people that are innocent and then argue cases for the people that are guilty. And it just wasn't something I wanted to do. But I met this professor who was in charge of technology commercialization law. And he just started a program in that, and I'd be in the first cohort. So I took the LSAT exam. We all take exams all the time. I took the LSAT exam. I did really well. I got a full scholarship, so I went, and it was like um, totally different area that I had no idea I'd be interested in. And so, what I want everyone to understand is what you are and what you do back when you were in high school or in your first part of college or then graduate school or your experience, it all changes. And you need to be flexible. You need to look at growth opportunities and you need to move forward.
Our main topic of discussion in today's podcast was tech to market. So, we all know that you had multiple experiences and insights obtained through many years of work in multiple companies and startups and all. So, we would like to know how you approach current world scenarios through these set of experiences you had, and also what motivates you to push through these set of phases.
My current job is working with the universities, Clarkson and Syracuse, Environmental Science and Forestry School, and moving forward, trying to solve a real problem. And that is the most um, fascinating thing that this is the only thing I've ever wanted to do. I don't need to be a big shot. I don't need to, say I know everything, I've done everything, Um, It's not important. The things that I had done as a chemical engineer and a manufacturing superintendent for DuPont, I never thought I would be interested in. They assigned me the wastewater treatment plant at Fayetteville Works. And it's not something I dreamed about. But what I found was this is very interesting. It's like a chemical factory with living things, and anything having to do with that is a total different kind of process. And at that time, a new group came into Fayetteville Works called the Nafion Group, and they were a Teflon-based membrane that's used in chloralkali cells instead of mercury and asbestos. And this is one of the things when they started out, they had used hydrofluoric acid and had washed some of it down into the bug pond. They killed every bug in the bug pond. It was totally dead. And I had to call my EPA guy, my supervisor in the EPA, and tell him I had a total bug kill. What do I do? And he showed me how to get back up. And so it was the first indication that there could be something that's wrong. And what happens is these things that happen, if you focus, I'm a real options person. I look at the value of flexibility. I look at the value of growth opportunities, and I'm always looking for those things. And so my whole career has been that way, even down to the point where I'm a senior manager for Deloitte and Touche, and then Ernst and Young, and then all these Charles River Associates. And so yeah, I've been with all the big companies. I've had all the startup companies. I've had multi-million dollar payoffs. I've been through all of those things. They're all fun, but the basic thing is know yourself and take that chance. It's like one of my friends. His name is Thomas Lieber, and you can read about him again in my LinkedIn profile. He comes out and says, you have to be able to put together a team, and you have to be resilient, you have to be collaborative, and you have to trust each other to have a good team. He also just recently came out with a thing called the goldfish bowl. Goldfish live in a bowl, they don't grow. If they live in a big pond somewhere, they get to be huge animals, okay? Um, but when I started as a chemical engineer at the Parkersburg plant, I made sure that I wasn't just in an engineering group with no factory around. I wanted to have the factory across the street. I wanted to walk over there on my break or come in on the weekend. I wanted to see everything run and understand how things all work together. So that's one of the things that I recommend all the time with people. Don't get stuck in that fishbowl. Don't hop from one fishbowl to the next. It's all how they all interact. That's very important. So,
So I have a one more question. Like I have a question with you had past tenures in key positions with leading companies, auditing firms, and consulting firms include work with General Electric, DuPont, NASA, and what. What's your standout experience that shaped your perspective on what it really takes to move to like tech from lab to the market? Like as we are in the chemical engineering, how did you like? That's a shift like from how in the lab to the market data in the investments.
yes, it's looking at it each step of the way, and a lot of times I was in research at the experimental station with DuPont, and we had semi-works there. We did lab testing with a hood and glassware and all that. It was really trying to find, okay, just like with the NASA thing. I met this gentleman. I answered a help wanted ad in the newspaper in Houston. They were looking for people interested in working on a new venture group at Clear Lake. This is where all the astronauts are now. The ones that were spent 9 months in space, they're all there getting rehabbed right now. Um, and I sent in my resume and I gave them a call. And about a week later, they called me back and said they wanted me to go to get an appointment. They set me up for an appointment um, at a psychologist. It's actually a psychiatrist. It is a group that is a guy who is testing um, how quickly you learn and how you put things together. And it's basically a a thing about just like any academic thing. It's a set of intelligence tests. It's Wexler and Stanford Binet. And I went in and I met. I did that. I passed, and they asked me to come in. I met Ira Goldknopf, and he's a organic chemist. And I met him, and both got along very well immediately because we both went through this clinical psychologist guy who's tested us with all these intelligence tests. And so we're all laughing about that kind of thing. He described the atomic oxygen plasma that exists at low Earth orbit. And when the space shuttle went through this plasma, it's an oxygen molecule. It's not an oxygen molecule, it's an atom of oxygen. It does very interesting things to the materials in that ceramic tile, and he's starting to apply it to be able to make things that would benefit mankind. One of them was we worked on a reactor made from porous polymer filters, and this is my chemical engineering thing. Like, is one of my favorite courses was chemical reactor analysis. And I saw an immediate thing having this atomic oxygen plasma create these hydroxyl groups and then pushing through the DNA sequence through it. And you can build any what they call an oligonucleotide, which is a RNA or DNA based short chain, like what the vaccine was for COVID-19. That is made that way. Instead of in wet chemistry, it's actually done in a reactor just like that. So we got a patent on that, or what they call a disclosure, a federal disclosure, which means basically we own the technology. It's based on the federal patent. The feds don't have patents, but they develop something, they own it, and we had a license. So this was 28 years before COVID, and obviously that's what Pfizer and the other companies created that vaccine. So that was one of the things that just between two guys that both went through this crazy thing with for an academic, we're always testing. To go to law school, I have to take the LSAT exam. I have to get the GREs. I have to do all these things. We're always taking exams. So it was no big deal, but it was just that. And then all of a sudden, we thought, "Wow, this is what we'll do." And so I have that NASA disclosure in there, the Space Act Award. It's a big award, small check from the government, and it was really a thrill. It was like, holy cow, yeah, how did you get into NASA? I answered an ad in the newspaper, wow, you must have
Makes
really
sense.
known somebody. No, I didn't know anybody. And then it's kind of like, then you meet someone who's just like you, and we think this is what we can do. Let's make this, and we did, and it worked. And then we went out and we went to a venture capital group. I can tell you who those guys were in a minute, but we actually went to the group in Houston called Vanguard Venture Capital Group, and we got funded right away, over $1 million, to
Oh
go
wow,
ahead and
that's
build this thing and move forward with it.
That's a huge one.
So, and that's a very huge thing, and that's all in all of that stuff. This is no imagination for me. That's all right in this disclosure. It's got everything in it, the Vanguard thing and everything. Now, on the reality side, what happened with that? Well, I'd like to say it was a huge success. It was for us, but actually, there was a person who was in charge of the center at NASA who actually stole the idea and moved on with it. And I won't say who that is, but she's selling art in San Clemente, California now. She blew it too. I've seen that happen several times where you have, say, the number one technology at Kansas State University with nanoparticle research with Kenneth J. Klabunde, who would have won a Nobel Prize in chemistry, except he passed away. And somebody stole the idea, and the company failed. And what is the bad part is that even if you do everything right and you've got something great, something can come along and mess it up. And you have to be with people that you trust.
So
It's
inspiring for us to like, we are talking to servers holding the space award, which was also inspiring for us. And so you're addressed on high profile cases and major corporate decisions also, sir. So when evaluating a new technology, how do you balance the excitement of innovation with the need of strategic investment discipline also? So how do you evaluate
Okay,
that?
okay, I understand. I understand. Yeah, so strategic investment is like an R&D project. Some of the R&D projects are huge. They are well over $1 billion, probably $10 billion today, lasting 10 years to reach a conclusion whether it's going to work or not. So it's very risky. And so my dissertation was basically on that. It was a spin out of a firm called Centacor. And they had two units, Tocor 1 and Tocor 2. And it was basically looking at how you structure the payoff for the venture. Is it a blockbuster R&D? Is it just an average R&D portfolio, a good one? Or if it's a bust or later on something else comes along, it ends up being an application for it. So I've structured that with a stock warrant, off balance sheet financing of R&D, a sword security. Finance always has things like, poison pill, swords. It's always that kind of thing. So I did it on sword securities, and that fits as well perfectly with what I just happened to be right at that interaction between these areas. And I can't tell you why I got into law school or I thought about law school, but I met that one professor and he changed my mind. And I took the whole 3 years to do it.
you, sir, for sharing that response. And also, can I ask you, right, like looking ahead from 10 to 20 years, what do you say the biggest opportunities and challenges in commercializing new chemical engineering innovations? And also, like, what will be your top advice for students like us for who want to bridge the gap between technical expertise and strategic investment? Sir, can you
Wow.
please?
Well, what I would say is listen, you can't do everything in 4 years in chemical engineering. I've already said that physical chemistry in the
Yeah,
sophomore
sir.
year, that was basically using Taylor's series and Maclaurin's series. That was basically
Yes, sir.
machine learning, basically. It's not a law, it's look at the experimental data. And these things, what I would say, especially your last year, you're in your final year, you're not going to have a whole lot of wiggle room. You're going to be working a lot of final projects and
Yes,
team
sir.
things and that kind of thing. So I would look for getting an idea what you might be very interested in. Staying in one fishbowl, go ahead and jump into big pond and and grow into the big goldfish and learn these things and start out right away with your first job, making sure there's a manufacturing plant across the street that you can go to on your break or come in on the weekend. And once you start doing that, everybody says, wow, Tom is in here. What's he doing? Oh, he's checking on this, he's checking on that. He's working on a yield improvement or recycling polymer. Everything changes. You start doing that. It's the same thing that I did at General Electric. I always worked for these guys. I did everything I could to help. I didn't go down and get dates with the secretaries. I went to the computer room and I ran computer programs on my lunch hour. And, it's sort of like, why do you think they called on the day after Mother's Day saying, Tom, have you got a job? I'm a recruiter. And these guys are saying, hire you. And I was just blessed, just being a quiet kind of quantitative nerd that I am.
So for like how fascinating perspective you are having this. I truly I'm sure that our audience will also find this just enlightening as well. So that marks an end of our another episode
Yeah.
of Chemically Talked. Yes, sir. I thank all the listeners for tuning in and hope that you got valuable insights from our speaker. Finally, a huge thank you, sir, for Dr.
Yeah.
Thomas Murphy for taking his time in between your busy schedule, sir. Like we
Yeah.
hope you enjoyed our section. It was really insightful, sir. Thank you so much. I'm so much grateful to have you on your podcast session. And yeah,
Oh,
for more
thanks.
such exciting podcast episodes, follow ACTVIT YouTube channels as well.